Hello everybody, welcome along to another edition of Path to the Pinnacles, and there really is a sense of grand final day about this Saturday afternoon at Ascot Racecourse. My name is Tim Walker. It is great to have your company. It's also great to have the company of Taylor Cortland. Hello TC.
Tim and Digby, cannot wait. Railway Stakes Day, best day of the year.
And the third of our trio is Digby Beecham. Hello Diggers.
Good morning Tim, good morning TC, and good morning to all of our viewers.
Well, we've got a wonderful day in store, gents. It is the second day of the Pinnacles. Of course, day number one was an absolute beauty, and we're not going to waste any time here today. We're going to have a look at the Railway Stakes, the WA Guineas, and then we'll finish off with our two listed races. But let's get stuck into the market for the running of the Group 1 Furphy Railway Stakes. And in market order, we've got Alaskan God, $3.90, Tricks of the Trade, $5.50, $7 Carly's Karma, Treasured Star is at $10, Ironclad $12, Devoted $13, Search and Rocks $14, $15 for Yonkers. It is $17 and upwards for the rest. The speed map, well, TC, the barrier draw certainly helped one of the key fancies who looks set to be right there on the speed.
Absolutely. It looks like Buster Bash will find the fence and lead the Railway Stakes after the first furlong. I think the interesting part is who lands outside him. Comfort Me's drawn really wide, Maricino drawn in the middle. They are probably the two most likely to find outside the leader. Whether or not Comfort Me can find that spot is probably going to have to do a little bit of work to get there. In terms of the fancies, Carly's Karma looks beautifully placed from the draw. She looks to land 1-1. Tricks of the Trade, probably midfield, maybe even on the back of Carly's Karma. And Alaskan God, if you pick up the form guide, you probably wouldn't be disappointed if you see the big number 14 next to his name. He'll be back in the field. He'll be three wide, but he'll get plenty of galloping room.
And that's exactly what he needs. He needs galloping room. He's big, he's rangy, he stands over a bit of ground, and his return in the Asian Bow was outstanding. If he replicates that off 3 weeks, he's awfully hard to beat.
Well, let's profile the WA Derby winner of 2022, Alaskan God, Chris Parnham to ride, Dan Morton, the trainer. TC, his Asian Bow Stakes effort was outstanding, and he deserves to go into this year's Railway Stakes as the one to beat.
Absolutely impossible to miss him first up. Dan Morton's been keen to keep him pretty fresh. 3 weeks between runs, 1600 second up. Absolutely ideal for Alaskan God. He's probably the horse in the field that can elevate. And if we look back at the Railway Stakes of 2022, in a year or 18 months' time, if he is able to win and then able to progress, go on, maybe even a Melbourne or a Sydney campaign, he might make this race look really good.
Yeah, exactly right, TC. I think you've summed it up perfectly. He's just the horse with genuine X factor, isn't he? And what is he ceiling? I'm not sure anyone has a full handle on that just yet. He could go there on Saturday and be the horse that all of Australia is talking about after the Railway Stakes.
Well, the next of our horses that we'll have a look at is on the second line of betting. It is Tricks of the Trade, who, of course, has come back in really good shape. He entered the WA Derby campaign, then the lead-up races to them, as the real next big thing. Maybe in the shadows of Alaskan God now, Diggers, but he's got a chance to well and truly emerge from them this weekend.
He certainly has, and he's a winner. He's had 13 starts, 8 wins. Like, he just knocks up winning races. And to be fair, Alaskan God and Devoted have always been in front of him in the Railway Stakes market. He beat Devoted fresh, under 61 kilos. Admittedly, Devoted didn't have a lot of good fortune. And then, most recently, he beat Alaskan God in the Asian Bow when running third. That was with 54 kilos, drops to 53. Absolutely a live hope. Interestingly, Troy Turner this morning on the Sports Daily indicated, or he certainly gave the inkling, that maybe there is sufficient speed in this race where he doesn't have to try to hold a spot. He will allow Tricks of the Trade to find his feet, maybe settle midfield and then blend in.
Absolutely electric turn of foot this horse has, Tricks of the Trade, and going back through the form, I didn't realise he started 210 favourite in a derby, over 2,400 metres. I think he's much better suited at the 1,600. We saw how electric he was first up over the 1,400 when he was successful. He finished off the race last start, the Asian Bow, exceptionally well once again. And if there's any sort of tempo, he with Alaskan God are the two from back in the field that are going to be coming late.
All right, and then you've got Carly's Karma there as well. The mare, she brings the Lastia Stakes form, and wasn't she mighty on this occasion, taking the step up to weight for age. And TC, she has got a draw that will give her every chance this week.
I think she'll need every chance. I'm a bit of a knock at the 1600 for Carly's Karma Mine. The last time we saw her at the mile, she was beaten by Crescent City, albeit that's with a different stable, so I can understand the argument and the narrative that you can forgive that effort. If there's any sort of rain around, I think she'd prefer a good 3 over a soft 5 every day of the week, Carly's Karma. She's going to be there for a long way. I think she might just be paddling that last furlong and trying to hold out the likes of Tricks in the Trade and also Alaskan God. No easy feat.
She's a live hope because she has a wonderful racing pattern. She's a thumping big mare. She's in rare form, absolute rare form. She won't know herself with 53 on the back. It wouldn't be a shock to me if she won this race. I think we need to hold her in the highest regard.
All right, they're 3 of the key players. There's honourable mentions to Treasured Star, Ironclad, Yonkers, last of the lines going well. Search and Rocks as the Peters winner. We could go all day about this race, but if we can get a little bit of an insight as to what way you two are thinking. Diggers first and foremost.
I'm with Alaskan God, Tim. I've been keen on him for a few weeks now. There was a question mark re Ayrton. I was obviously in the belief that Ayrton could come here and win, but he's not here, and therefore I think Alaskan God is the way you go. Certainly it's the way I'm going. So 7 on top from 16, Tricks of the Trade. They get to renew hostilities once again. It would be terrific to see these 2 4-year-olds hopefully square off again, maybe in a fortnight's time in a Northerly. That would be wonderful. 10, Carly's Karma. She'll ride the speed. She'll give a kick, and with 53 kilos, she will be there for a long, long way. And 2, Yonkers. I'm just very mindful that this horse is coming back from 2,000 to 1,600. He's got form in and around some pretty handy ones like a Cascadian, like a Zaki. He gets his preferred ground. 7, 16, 10 and 2.
Just 16 and 7 for me. Tricks of the Trade on top for the sake of its hit, but betting-wise, I'm happy to back the both of them and make a profit out of the race. Tricks of the Trade and Alaskan God. Tricks, from a tipping perspective, just on top of Alaskan God because he's going to be able to settle that little bit closer to the tempo and get every chance from there.
Yep, I'm team Tricks of the Trade as well for this week's edition of the Group 1 Furphy Railway Stakes. And that will lead us to our next race now. It comes up 40 minutes prior to the railway. It's the Sky Racing WA Guineas. Down the board we go here. $2.25 Amelia's Jewel, $4.20 Bustler, $7.50 All the King's Men, Snowdome at $13, $15 Saintorio, and Swear to God it's $21 and upwards the rest. TC, from a speed point of view, there looks to be a few drawn wide that will be all over the speed here.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes the speed map look a touch messy. I thought maybe Snowdome leads Saintorio coming across from the wide draw. Man Crush, where does he get? Maybe they chance their arm and just have to go forward, see if anything can happen there. I think there's a possibility he's probably caught wide, but I think the most intriguing thing, straight through the middle of the field, all one off the fence, you're probably going to have All the King's Men, one off the fence, then behind him probably Bustler, and then behind him you're going to have the filly Amelia's Jewel. And they're probably going to be making their run all at the same time.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's fascinating. When the barriers came out for this field on Monday, you looked at it, you thought, oh, what did she draw? Okay. Oh, what did Bustler draw? Oh, okay. Oh, what did All the Kings? Oh, okay. And then you line them up. Look, they're going to be within a very close proximity of each other in the run, and as TC quite rightly mentioned, they are going to be making their runs pretty much at the same time. Well, so may the best horse win.
Well, it might very well be Amelia's Jewel. That's certainly what the punters are thinking. She has been well supported right throughout the course of the week. She was second in the Burgess Queen Stakes up to the 1,600 metres this week. Are we talking about Amelia's Jewel, the WA Guineas winner, TC?
I think we are. Amelia's Jewel, I chopped and changed all week, Amelia's Jewel, Bustler, but what eventually led me back to Amelia's Jewel is the effort of Laced Up Hills last week, and that form being franked through the Burgess Queen. Laced Up Hills last week was absolutely outstanding against the track pattern 3 wide, did a heap of work, was still there, only punctured late. Amelia's Jewel and Laced Up Hills in the Burgess Queen were very similar runs. If Amelia's Jewel can produce a similar effort on the back of that Burgess Queen with a beautiful run that we expect her to get from that gate, she's going to be awfully hard to beat. She was really strong late. Her final furlong was ruled off in 11.10 in a strong run, Burgess Queen.
And that was with 58. Drops down to 54.5. So she and Lyndon Lady, the only 2 fillies in this field, do get 2 kilos off their male counterparts. And a lovely gate, a nice gradual build-up to this race. Nearly the 3 weeks, obviously raced on Melbourne Cup Day. That's been ideal from Simon Miller's perspective. And a piece of work on Tuesday pleased him no end and pleased Paddy Carberry, and both know this filly inside out.
Well, the next horse we'll have a look at is the Faritha Stakes winner. It's Bustler. He's unbeaten, Diggers, and he looked like a horse over the last 100 metres of the Faritha Stakes that just wanted to win.
Well, he is a winner. We talk about tricks of the trade being a winner. This fellow's 4 for 4. He couldn't have done any more in his first 2 runs. Then he stepped up to Black Type Company and he gunned down all the King's men, and he was strong through the line, and he had to sustain a run. And not all 3-year-olds, lightly raced 3-year-olds, can do that. He did that. He's the real deal. The yard has a massive opinion of him, and you can understand why, TC.
Not much more to add. There's no knocks on this horse. He's undefeated, as we've mentioned. He's a winner. Outstanding. He'll have a brilliant turn of foot at the end of 1,600 metres. Likely to have the filly on his back if he can hold on. He'll be a deserving Guineas winner.
Well, if you like Bustler, I think you simply have to like all the King's men, because he was mighty in the Faritha Stakes as well. He was runner-up in the Size Produce Stakes earlier on this year. He has come back in really good order. He, of course, won first up over the 1,200 metres, then went to 1,400 metres, won, and then, of course, we saw him in the Faritha Stakes. He's a really, really live Guineas hope.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be stalking the speed, and we mentioned the fact Bustler had to make a sustained run last start. That's because Paul Harvey took off early in the Faritha and really put the foot down to Bustler and really try to make him chase all the King's men. Everything you watch this horse, everything you read up about his profile, 1,600 metres is a massive tick.
It is indeed. He's just a flat-out good horse. He's proven, and he's got better. He's been a little bit slow on the uptake. He's getting better and better and better. And that most recent effort in the Faritha, that'll do wonders. Do wonders for his confidence and also his race day tractability. He'll know what's needed. And he was set a task by Paul Harvey. He was put into the race early. He quickened around the corner and he fought on. He was just beaten by a better one on the day who had the drop on him late.
All right, well, let's, for all of the talk, work out who's going to win the WA Guineas. I get the feeling you're going with the filly, TC.
Yeah, no bravery awards for me. I'll put 15 on top, Amelia's Jewel, to beat Bustler, all the King's men, and then Saintorio, who's going to need a little bit of luck from the wide draw, but he's as tough as old boots, Saintorio, so he's going to give a big sight, 15, 6, 3 and 2.
Okay, and he does get a little bit of weight relief as opposed to all the King's men from their most recent encounter. I'm seeing the race very similar to TC, and that is 15, the filly on top, Amelia's Jewel, from 6, Bustler. 16, Linden Lady. I thought the effort last week, and you can tie in those form lines with obviously laced up heels. I thought she was terrific getting to the line. Well, the figures back that up. And 3, all the King's men. 15, 6, 16 and 3.
All right, I might go the other way. I might go the boy. I think Bustler can be a WA Guineas winner after the weekend. Let's go back another race, and this, of course, is the Carbine Club of WA Stakes. This is a cracking race. Down the board, Devoted 280, $8.50 comes a time. Billy Ain't Silly is in that boat too. $9.50, Minsk Moment, Let's Gallivant, and MTA. It's $11 and upwards the rest. There was a sense that last week it was now or never for Devoted, and there's an eerie sort of similar feeling to this Saturday for Devoted as well, knowing that he probably needs to go very close to winning this to get himself into the Northerly Stakes tickers.
He certainly does, and I think he does win this. And I'm quite keen on Devoted in this race, and I don't mind the quote. Currently $2.80 as we sit here this morning. I think that's a good price, TC.
Yeah, and where does it look from a speed map point of view, TC?
Well, I thought Let's Gallivant would lead. I concede the fact that Billy Ain't Silly, drawn low, did have the opportunity to lead. I add on the fact that 1,400 metres first up, they may not be all that keen to take up the running. His first up record isn't all that great. From a Devoted point of view, as it's been most of his campaign, I think he'll be 3 wide, but I think, touch wood, he'll get cover this week.
I think William Pike will be very positive out of the gates on Saturday. I really do. I think there's some horses in here, in this race, who are not going to hold a position. And I think if William elects to be nice and proactive out of the gates, he can camp all over the speed and let down it and be very, very authoritative. I'm really keen, Devoted, in the Carbine Club.
All right, are you as bullish?
Not that bullish. Well, I'm not as bullish that Pike will go forward, because you'd think if there was any day to go forward, if you're trying to get a start in a railway stakes, you'd put all the cards on the table last week. So if you didn't do it last week, I'm not sure what would change this week.
All right, well, let's take a quick look at Billy Ain't Silly, who we saw in track work earlier on in the week with Tricks of the Trade. Comes into the Carbine Club fresh. Diggers? Will Billy Ain't Silly still get a little bit of yours, even though you're keen devoted?
Yeah, look, I'm keen devoted, but Billy will get a little bit, absolutely. He's a good horse. He's just a good horse. He's got a wonderful racing profile as well, a low draw. Don't worry about the 1,400 metres first up. We saw Tricks of the Trade step up to 1,400 metres off the back of a couple of trials out of Colin Webster's yard. The yard can get them right for an important first up assignment, and I'm expecting Billy Ain't Silly to be very, very prominent on Saturday.
Both trials this time in very good. He's had 3 goes first up for just 2/3. Whether or not he's at his absolute best first up, I'm of the opinion he probably needs a run to reach his top, but at this listed Group 3 grade, I think he's certainly up to that.
All right, let's get an idea on what way you are leaning, gents. I get the feeling that you are expecting a Pike, Peters Investments and Grantham win here.
I am indeed, yeah. Quite keen about the prospects of 7 Devoted. From 4 Comes a Time and 14 Billy Ain't Silly. They're the 3 that I'm working around, but very heavily invested emotionally and financially and devoted. I think he wins.
Jeez, emotionally.
I'd love to see a horse like his talent go there and have no bad luck, because he's had a wretched time of it this campaign.
7, 11, 6 and 4 for me. Devoted on top of MTA, who you can tie the form in through the Asian Bow Stakes. Number 6, Let's Gallivant. He's a trier. He'll put in 100%. Number 4 Comes a Time.
You know I love Devoted, gents, but I'm going to back Comes a Time this weekend. I'm going to go against Devoted. Anyway, the Crown Perth Jungle Miss Classic is the last one that we're going to have a look at. This is race number 5 on the program. These mares races are always intriguing, and Snipperucci is the $2.25 favourite ahead of Baby Paris at $3.70. Bazoom is at $9, $10 Angelic Miss, $12 Real Grace. Heads up the rest. From a speed map point of view, TC, how are you seeing this play out?
I don't think there's a lot of pressure up front. I think Express Time finds the top. Baby Paris probably sits outside Express Time. On the back of Baby Paris is Snipperucci, and from there they can sort of control the race and dictate the tempo that'll suit them. And I find it difficult to see anything running past Snipperucci and Baby Paris.
I'd agree 100% with how TC's assessed that. Snipperucci, and you look often in these sort of races, the Jungle Miss, horses who, one, are thrown in at the weights, with the set weights and penalties conditions of a race like this, or the progressive horse. And Snipperucci, off what she did at the back end of a 3-year-old campaign and how she's returned, she's progressive. She's trending the right way. I think she goes there and she gives them something to chase.
Well, let's make that our starting point. She was terrific last time out. That, of course, was first up. She was able to beat a handy enough field on that occasion, and she gets an opportunity here, TC, to get some valuable black type as an elder mare now.
That's a big word, progressive. I think that's what swayed me to Snipperucci in this field. She looks like she's on the way up. The final furlong of a 1,000-metre win last start was what was the most eye-catching, up to the 1,200 now. Very difficult to hold out. Gets a beautiful run. I'm not sure what other boxes you need to tick.
No, she's the start point, and I think she's the end point as well.
All right, well, Baby Paris, we know she didn't have the best afternoon at the office last week. She came out before the gates opened in the Placid Arc Stakes. It's a consolation prize. It's only $125,000. We say only $125,000. It's still good prize money, but it's still just as important for her to go there and put in a good performance, and you never know what the rest of the campaign might look like, Diggers.
Exactly right, Tim. And to be fair, now whether she would have beaten My Bella May or not, TC, that's up for debate. The bottom line was she was favourite for the Placid Arc last week. As they were getting ready to go out onto the track, she just shaded My Bella May with the Tab Touch market. So that tells you there's a school of thought around this filly that she's very, very good. And she carries 51.5 in this race. She's still a postage stamp.
She's still a little bit overrated. She's only lost once. She lost to Amelia Stewell, and we sort of don't talk about Baby Paris in probably the regard that we should. Like I said, she'll get every possible chance. Lightweight, she's up on speed. She showed first up what she can do when she's able to control the tempo of a race, and she can kick away. She's the one Snipperucci needs to beat, and I'd be surprised if anything outside of Snipperucci and Baby Paris won this race.
Well, we might leave it there then on this race. Are we Snipperucci around the table, gents?
Indeed we are.
All right. Well, let's get to our $100 strategy time. And TC, you made up some ground last week, so you can fire away.
Okay, good question, Tim. I think I'll just split the $100 in the railway stakes. I think I'll have 50 Alaskan God and 50 on Tricks of the Trade.
Makes a lot of sense. I'll have $100 on Devoted.
Chips in with Devoted for Diggers.
There's the emotional bit.
Yes, I like it. And I'm going to go $100 on Bustler to win the Sky Racing WA Guineas. I think the boys will come out on top on the weekend. That's been Path to the Pinnacles for this week. Enjoy day number 2 of the Pinnacles next week. The big boys and girls, they're out to play in the Winterbottom Stakes. We're looking forward to your company then. Back plenty of winners.
Join Jim Walker and Digby Beecham on the Sports Daily each weekday morning from 5:30.